All right. So hold on. Let me actually pull up at this. Where is it? I'm dumb. All right. So as you can see, I just finished 100%ing Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, and that includes all the online multiplayer achievements and stuff. I just got this technically yesterday. It's midnight for me right now, but yesterday. It took me 117 hours to get the full 100%, and honestly, it was like 30 to 40 hours for the online alone, which is crazy because it took way too long. But I finally 100% it, and so this is gonna be my 100% review of Ghost of Tsushima and my thoughts. And if you've seen my other reviews before in the past, I always start with the cons first, and then I go do the pros afterwards. And since there's technically 3 sets of achievements, technically, at least on the PlayStation, there's technically 4, but I'm only doing 3. I've separated each segment by base game, DLC, and Legends. And I'll say which one it is when I get to it. So, starting off on cons for the base game, I only had one. And that was just the amount of collectibles is kind of crazy. There's just so much to collect. It's kind of a bad thing. It's also a good thing, but it's bad depending on how you see it. And to be fair, a lot of them can be found pretty easily as exploring the map and doing all the side content and stuff. You'll find a good majority of them. There's just like a good selection of a few. And it doesn't really take long to go through and get all the collectibles once you have the full map unlocked and you have all the places you can fast travel to. It just makes it super quick. Especially once you have the leveling upgrades to be able to track it with the wind. And they'll just point you in the right direction. Sorry. When I get phlegmy, it makes me cough a lot. Kind of hard to avoid right now in the dead of winter. But regardless, depending on who you are, the amount of collectibles can be off-putting, especially the achievements don't require you to collect them all. It was just part of my 100% like want to do. I was going to collect every single collectible, and it was kind of a drag. That's it. That's all the cons for the base game. That's the only thing I had. I enjoyed the game immensely, the base game. The DLC, I had a few more cons. Onto the Iki Island DLC. The Iki Island DLC, it feels like a lot of the map is mostly climbable, which makes it really hard to navigate with the horse. There's plenty of space to ride your horse around and stuff like that without any problem. But there's also a lot of like sheer cliff faces or like drops and stuff that you like the center of the map is a giant mountain that you have to climb. Granted, there's areas where you can ride your horse, but a lot of it is mountainous, and I feel like Iki Island is small enough that it's not too bad. But also at the same time, it's kind of annoying to do. Onto the second con. The fact that there's hidden side quests that there's no real way to track or be able to tell which ones you've completed fully, which is kind of annoying. And like you can look it up which is no big deal. You can look up what to do and where to find them and stuff like that. But I didn't do that until after I went through the DLC completely, and I was just trying to clean up to get the last few achievements. After I did that, I went through the DLC normally, just like a normal playthrough, without really trying to focus on 100%ing it like in one sweep. I wanted to play through naturally, explore, do fun stuff. And it was annoying when I went back to try and get that achievement where you have to do 5 hidden stories of Iki Island. It would annoyed the hell out of me trying to figure out which one I didn't do, what I was missing, and having to backtrack and navigate the whole map, like the sections of where it occurred, just to figure out if you did it or not, or if there was one you were missing. It's tedious, and I really hated that. I don't think any game should have like side quests that if you completed it, regardless if it was a hidden side quest, that's fine if it's hidden. I just want to know whether I completed it or not, or like even a tracker for it, like a ticker, like you did this one out of this 5. It could be question marks, and you won't know until you finish it that you did it. That's fine. I want like a finish marker to tell me I completed it, so I knew what I needed to do. Yet it was annoying. I disliked it. Again, Iki Island introduced a ton of collectibles, more banners and records. Again, with the size of Iki Island, it wasn't too terrible, but still trying to collect, what was it, 30 banners and like 25 records. It was still tedious and not fully fun to do. And obviously there's all the vanity items. Granted, vanity items are cool. I like making my character look badass. But also at the same time, this is a lot to collect. Granted, in Iki Island, what was annoying was that a majority of the cosmetics that were on Iki Island was orientated around the horse. Like, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of armor styles and headbands, and I think a few masks. I still think a good majority of it was still orientated around the horse, which is fine. You ride the horse a lot in the game, but also like sometimes it's not really the horse that you see in the cutscenes. It's like you kind of see the horse in cutscenes, especially at the end of a mission. It's usually you and your horse. I don't know. I guess it's more of a preference. I didn't like it. I didn't care to change how my horse looks armor wise, because like don't really. I don't know. I didn't like it. Anyways, onto the cons of Legends. I hated Legends. I hated the multiplayer. I hate games that are 90% single player with like a 10% multiplayer with like zero thought process put into the multiplayer. It's horrendous. And I hate when games force achievements into the multiplayer portion. It's fine for like, don't get me wrong, some achievements are fine. It's specific ones that are annoying, especially in dated games. It's real hard to find people to play because there's not a lot of people playing it. Because there's a bunch of other games. Apologies, fuck. Let me drink something. Alright. The Lens story. Boring. horrendous. I could, nothing good of the story of the Legends mode. Terrible. I hate it. The raids aren't fun, especially since people just rage quit partway through, and then they require at most 3 to 4 people, especially chapter 2 of the raid. That one's like easily could vary between 2 to 4 hours long of gameplay, and to get like 2 hours in and be like halfway through, or like an hour and a half through, and you're like halfway or 75% done with chapter 2, and then people rage quit because of something, and then they don't come back or nothing, and there's no like way to push a button to find players or to combine parties or something. So you just wasted an hour to 2 hours of your time doing something that one won't even reward you, because when you quit a game, you don't even gain experience, you don't gain any loot that you might have collected, or you technically were promised at the end since you completed certain objectives. You don't get the loot for it, so it's just a waste of time altogether. I hated the raids. They were horrible. And the final boss fight of chapter 3 was so short, and it's also at the same time super easy to fail the fucking thing, because if no one's really doing a good job at shooting the things around the head of the giant thing, it pukes like 3 times and you're fucking done. And then you have to matchmake again because nobody sticks with the party. And then it gets you said matchmaking for like 10-15 minutes, and then you get queued up with the same fucking people. Like they waited to see if they could queue up with somebody else, and then you all queue up again together, and it's just the same fucking thing. It's I hated the raids. Horrendous. Probably would have been fun or like easier to do with friends, people I know, but doing it with fucking randoms, horrendous. I hated every aspect of that. None of the cool cosmetics in Legends carried over to the Man King campaign, which, to be fair, I would fully finish the campaign and like the base game. I finished all of the base game, had everything unlocked and stuff like that. I was only focusing on multiplayer at the end. But it would be cool if those cool ass cosmetics that you can unlock that are only Legends cosmetics you could carry over. That'd be awesome, but you can't. It makes no damn sense. I don't know why you can't just like whoop, over. Yeah, it just the fucking whole online multiplayer was boring. Such a slug. I hated trying to force myself to play. It was boring to the point I was falling asleep constantly while trying to play it, instead of feeling like I was engaged and wanting to play. And you know when you get in the zone of playing the game and you're tired, or like kind of tired, and you're like, oh no, I got fucking energy to keep playing. You just force yourself to stay awake. I couldn't even fucking do that. I was like, every time trying to level up my characters, because the last achievement I had to unlock was rank every character up to rank 20, and that shit took forever. Nothing gave enough XP to make it worthwhile. People were like, I looked up, I'm like, what's the best things to do? And they're like, oh, just do 4 fucking story mode missions. And I'm like, okay. And it's like, do only the first one, and you can get 4 of them done in the time that it would take to do a survival match, like a full survival match. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. And then like you get partway through, either you can matchmake with randoms to do the story mode, but I wasn't gonna do that. on gold difficulty because it could take longer, or they might want to do every little thing of it, and I just wanted to get through it because the extra stuff doesn't even give you XP; it just gives you loot, and I could care about less about the loot when I'm just trying to level up. And you could get like halfway into the mission and then fail it because you died too many times or some shit like that, and you can say skill issue, whatever. But the fact that each portion of the like gold rank single player mission is like gives you a different modifier. The worst one to get the kami orientated ones where the enemies have different kami statues, and it's like you have to go either you get stuck. I'm getting too excited, it's making me cough more. Either you get stuck with like I don't know, just a bunch of fuckers with blue, green, and red on them, and they take forever to kill, so you have to run around and navigate around them just to grab a statue to kill one specific enemy and then swap to a different one to kill another. And annoying. And so I would just do survival, and survival was a slog too. It was boring. 10 out of 10, don't fucking recommend doing the legend shit, but I needed to for the achievements. Because it had fucking achievements. Anyways, onward. Onto the pros. The better side of things. For the base game, I have a lot. The story was amazing. The constant growth of Jin was an experience worth experiencing. It was just so much to Jin as a character and the story that the game was trying to tell, from his growth from being a honor-bound samurai to whatever it takes shinobi. That was like throughout the whole game. It was a long, constant battle of beliefs, and like you felt it at every moment between Jin and his uncle, or Jin and his comrades believing in Jin and the things that he's doing and telling him not to, fall too deep into it. And then his uncle's like, "You have to do it like a samurai." It was great. It was such a conflict of beliefs, and it just constantly added that tension and drama to the story that you needed, to keep it a bit interesting, besides obviously the Mongols. And the story beats surrounding them. And like the fact that Jin still wants to be the man and son that his uncle wants him to be, but also knowing he needs to be the person the islanders need, the people of Tsushima need, becoming what the island needs to survive and push back the Mongols. I just loved every second of the story, and it's definitely a game I feel like everyone should experience at least once, whether it's watching it or playing it. The music scores in the game are fantastic and moving. They are placed in great spots, like nothing feels out of place. Everything feels like where it needs to be, and it adds to the scenes and the gameplay and makes it infinitely better. My favorite one was like the initial entrance to the game, where after you finally get your horse and you ride off into the tall grass and the swaying and the music swells. Yeah, this is amazing. My favorite part. The combat was well thought out. Everything, it was very satisfying to learn and master, and the fact that there were these duels that you could only do sword stuff, you couldn't use any of the shinobi tools. It was only your skill with the sword and paying attention to how to parry and dodging and when to attack, how to attack, what stance you need. very cinematic fights. It just felt really good to finish a fight, a duel, and know that you played your best because you would have gotten your ass kicked otherwise. Especially if you're playing on lethal. Lethal difficulty pushes it to another level. I played on lethal on my new game plus, and I got my ass kicked in the final duel with Mongol warlord. He kicked my ass, or the Khan. Yeah, that's what I meant. And then all the ghost tools are super fun and add like they were very fun to use, and they worked really well in combat, and like it could turn the tide of the battle using a specific ninja specific ghost tool at the right moment. It felt great. They were all well thought out, and the upgrades with them were fantastic that you could get from leveling up. All the cosmetics were very cool for many of the armors and all the hats and the masks that you could find and get and unlock. They just, it's always fun to play a game where you can customize your character to make your character look badass, and every cutscene and everything like that. Like especially in the duels, because your character would like be standing and the enemy would be on the other side, and you could see multiple angles of your armor and the things you picked for your character, and it just felt badass, every aspect of it. The cosmetics were fantastic. Granted, there were a lot of them, but the cutscenes were epic and cinema quality for the game. It showed characters' facial movement very well, really showed their emotions, making moments feel tense or emotional depending on what the situation was. It really drew you in, made the story feel more alive, the characters feel more alive. Felt like the actions you took had consequences with the people you like were allied with, and that was great, especially near the very ending of the game with the uncle just before you fight him. Like that whole thing was amazing. The scenic views in the game were gorgeous, and the amount of screenshots I took was crazy. I took so many. I think I have how big is my folder for my screenshots for oh yeah. Let me see. 1.65 gigabytes is how big my screenshot folder of Ghost of Tsushima, which is crazy. That's a lot of fucking screenshots. And that just everything looked amazing. The photo mode was fantastic. You could create crazy scenes with photo mode and everything that they had for it. Overall, it's just a beautiful game with lots of scenic vistas, and I could not get enough. And the haikus added like another level to it because it had like still images of locations, and depending on what choices you had, like you picked, like different views were shown. It was such a beautiful game. I had such a fun time. It sucked like partway through I had to turn down the was it the graphics because it was slowing my game down. The side quests were fun, and they added a lot to the story and how the people of Tsushima were like surviving and doing what they needed to do to live. It just added a lot to the story and the island. And they were all just good additions. None of them felt bad. They weren't like super long sprawling side quests that you were like, oh, when is this gonna be over? Oh, it's the same shit I just did. None of it felt like that, which is great. Um, the armors each had a playstyle in mind, which allowed you to play differently depending on how you wanted to play or like tackle certain situations. And the charms helped a lot with that as well. Since there were plenty of charms that were gravitated to specific playstyles, whether it was range, stealth, or full frontal attack. And with the ability to, depending if you played with the setting on or not, I initially didn't. But in my New Game Plus, I did play with the setting where you could have essentially almost specific charm like builds. So when you like swapped armors, you would automatically have all the charms that you had selected for that armor set, which was great. It's a great quality of life addition that a lot of RPG makers don't really take into consideration sometimes. The stances were interesting in the combat. They each allowed you to tackle specific enemies, and it flowed really well. It didn't feel like sluggish to swap between them. Sometimes it didn't register on my controller, but I think it was just a controller PC issue. I don't think it had anything really to do with the game. I think it was just built for the PlayStation controller, and I'm using an Xbox controller. The stealth was really fun, and the butchering of the captains was really cool. Once you unlocked the ability to do that, it just made it to where doing stealth was just infinitely better if you could. I just had a lot of fun with this game. I loved every second of it, of the base game at least. I could not get enough of it. So I'm gonna say the game overall, the base game has a 9 out of 10 feel to it. It's definitely a 9 out of 10. And that's how I feel about it. Now we're on to the Iki Island portion of the pros. The story of Iki Island was interesting and added more to the tale of Jin and his family lineage with his father and what happened to his father and how it shaped Jin into the man he is today. And like the constant need of Jin to want to defend the samurais, but also at the same time understanding what the samurais did wasn't necessarily the best thing for the people of Iki. And that when in war, both sides commit atrocious acts, and there's no real good or bad person. It's just all bad. And what I thought was really cool, once you got drugged by the Eagle Tribe leader, just her constant nagging at you until the very end in your mind when you do and perform specific actions, and how it affected Jin and how he responded. It was really cool and a nice addition. Kind of reminded me of Far Cry, and like how the you get just the main baddies were just so antagonistic. It's kind of, it felt the same way. The island had many beautiful spots. I definitely added plenty of screenshots to my screenshot folder from this, from the DLC. I really loved that tree patch that was like purple lilac, like colored leaves and stuff like that. It was just that were like hanging down. It was my favorite spot in the game. Took plenty of pictures there. I love that section. I thought the animal sanctuaries were really cool. It was a interesting thing to add for Jin to do. And it also told stories about his mother who died, and how she intended for Jin to really be a more gentle man, while his father made him as a samurai. essentially, after his mother's passed, and how that affected Jin, and kind of how he leads more with emotion compared to how a samurai should have no emotion. It's just very different. Um, and I like the music mini game. That was pretty cool. I did like the flute music, and the fact that there was a section of the game where you played the flute like manually. That was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty fun. The archery challenges was a nice little challenge. To see if you really knew the archery mechanics very well. If you knew how to do a good charm build and stuff like that. And they just added a nice little layer. I thought the arena duels were really fun. And each enemy was very unique, and they had a unique way of fighting, and you had to counter it uniquely. I thought it was really cool. I had a tough time with them, and I just added a lot to the gameplay, and I really like that. I'm gonna give the DLC a 7 out of 10. It's just more of the base game, which is not a bad thing. I enjoyed a lot of the base game. It's just that Iki Island is just like, it's just more. There isn't like anything too new to it that you're like, oh wow, this really changes the game. Or so it's a 7 out of 10 for the Iki Island DLC. The only thing that was good about the Legend mode was just the armor sets and like the specific like cool armor skins that you could have. That's it. It's just super. The Legends DLC was just super boring, and it was the most tedious part of the game. It was just horrendous. I was falling asleep just trying to force myself to play game, like I said earlier. I did not have a fun time, and that's why the Legend mode gets a 1 out of 10. That just, none of it was really worth doing. It would probably be fun to do with friends, but I don't recommend even doing it with your friends. So that's my thoughts on it. But overall, this experience, I had a overall good experience with the game. So, and yeah, and that's it. That's my 100% review. Thank you guys for watching. And you know, just sticking around, even though I ramble and this isn't edited. This is all one take. We have all the little dumb shit I do in there. My fucking hacking alone now. Not fun to hear, but thank you guys for watching. Regardless, I appreciate it. I just like putting my thoughts out there, and if you guys agree with some of my thoughts, you know, leave a comment about it. Or if you disagree, leave a comment about it. Tell me what you thought of Ghost of Tsushima and the DLC and the Legends mode. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to chat about it. See where thoughts differ or collide. But other than that, I will catch you guys in the next review video. Hopefully, a lot sooner than actually, no, the game that I've lined up is gonna take plenty of hours. I'll see you next time.